check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey listeners, ever wonder what it would be like to blow up your comfort zone at the tender age of 50? Well, we did just that. When our last kid went off to college, we hit the road in search of a new hometown. Now we bounce from city to city and bring you along for the ride. This is the Skip Town All-Stars podcast.
What's up, All-Stars? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Skip Town. We're so excited you could join us today. I actually got to spend a little time in Connecticut this time, as opposed to our Hartford and Guilford episodes where everybody knows I was locked in a hotel room working away.
You got to spend a little bit of time though in Guilford. Not as much in Hartford as you did Guilford, but you got to put some what is it?
I got a
on
taste.
The ground. You got some, yeah. But this time you were solo, and there was no one planning your adventures. And
that's right.
How was that, my friend? How was that?
It was awesome. 10 days at Jimmy James on the loose in Connecticut, in the big CT. I visited like 10 towns. It was awesome.
That
I had a
sounds
good
like
time.
the worst trip ever. 10 towns in 10 days? No, to me, that sounds like a living hell.
Oh my gosh, I did hikes in like 2 different towns we're going to talk about. I did spend a little time in Hartford. I had the chance to go back for family weekend for the Trinity Bantams, where our daughter plays volleyball. And I got to meet a lot of parents from the school. It was great. It was a fun weekend, very celebratory, lots of tailgating. It was good times.
I just don't find traveling to 10 different cities to be fun in 10 days.
Oh, we're still on that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about tailgating now.
I'm still going back to like the in and out of the car. I'm so glad you did your trip. I'm so glad you did you, babe.
I didn't stay in 10 different towns.
I
just explored them.
James, I know exactly what you did. Mm-hmm. That is why I'm glad I wasn't there. So, all right, let's dig in.
Let's
talk about James Gordon's version of Guilford, Connecticut.
Okay. But first, we're going to start in South Windsor, outside of Hartford, Connecticut. That's where I rolled up. I decided I was going to get a hotel there. There was a newer, modern hotel there. And as it turns out, South Windsor, about 10, 15 miles outside of Hartford. Nice area, scenic. If you like Panera and Target, it's really for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Very suburban. But that's where I decided I was going to stay. It was family weekend at our daughter's school. And even from the time we were in Hartford, all those rooms at our favorite place, the Goodwin downtown,
oh, yeah,
they were all booked up. There were other hotels, but it was like Red Roof Inn type stuff or Motel 6s. It was just, I was picking through the scraps. In terms of hotels there in the general Hartford area. A lot of dinners in West Hartford, which is where everybody goes because there's nothing open after 5 p.m. in Hartford. So I went to a Thai restaurant one night. I took Ellie and one of her best friends, Lucy, from high school, who actually goes to the same college as her. So it was a nice little LA reunion. Uh-huh. Went out for Thai food, ordered.
What's Thai like in West Hartford?
It looked delicious, but the end of the story, and I'm just going to fast forward to it, is that their food came, but mine never did.
Oh, so you really don't know what Thai is like in West Hartford?
I tried the chicken satay. That was about it.
Okay.
It was delicious.
Where did you end up eating that night?
I ended up stopping at a Buffalo Wild Wings right up the street from the Target.
So you sat there while they ate?
Yeah. I didn't realize that's how it was going to end up. Their food came and they said, yours will be right out. And the kids were done eating. And then I was like, just take it off the bill. At this point, I don't even want it. What am I going to do? Take it home and smell up the entire hotel?
Yeah.
So anyway, that is a fast recap of Hartford. But West Hartford and Hartford. Okay. I left after a couple mornings. You know, she had her volleyball games and everything. It was all great. It was fun. It was a good time. But then I have a really good friend, Jeff, one of my old roommates from Orlando.
Jeff.
Shout out Jeff, who listens to the show. Friend of the show. Thanks, Jeff. Friend of me. Thanks even more. Appreciate it all these years. I don't know how I wasn't the greatest roommate.
I heard
in Florida.
I've heard those stories. Yeah.
I wasn't like late rent.
Oh yeah. You're the doozy.
Got fired from a job.
You're that one.
I am.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So
and Jeff, he's still friends with you.
Jeff has seen me. Jeff has seen some of my ups and downs. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's a good egg. He's got a family of himself now living in Newtown.
Is it Newton?
family of his own, I should say, living in Newtown.
Is it Newton or Newtown? Because people
Newtown.
have corrected me. Is there a Newton? There's a Newton.
Is there a Newton, Connecticut?
Yeah.
I don't know.
How do they spell this? How do you spell Newtown?
Newtown, all one word. Newtown.
Okay, because somebody corrected me yesterday and said Newton.
How do you spell Newton, though?
Newton.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
As in Newton's
like
law,
Fig
right?
Newton?
Yeah.
So-
Like Fig Newton.
Okay, so I guess it is really Newtown. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So I left Hartford. I actually booked an Airbnb, which I said I wasn't going to do anymore. But it turns out it's fairly rural around there. Rural. I just swallowed that word. Rural around Candlewood Lake, which is sort of the largest. Not sort of. It is the largest lake in Connecticut.
Oh,
It's like
Whoa.
6,000 acre lake or something like that. It's big. It's a big lake.
it is the largest lake in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
and it's in Newtown.
Newtown is near there. So
Okay.
I chose Danbury, Danbury, probably better said, like a New Englander. And Danbury is really a small city. I found an Airbnb there. It was a basement apartment. It was weird because it's rustic and there are a lot of forests and everything around that area where I was staying. But the lots for the houses were like an acre at best. So there were a lot of houses in that general area.
Okay.
It wasn't like where
Acres and acres of land.
Right. It wasn't like where we had seen in Guilford or North Guilford. But the place was fine. It was a really nice house, and especially for the price. Danbury, I would say, is a lot of strip malls. And I think that's because their 84 freeway runs right through the heart of it.
Okay.
Like the downtown or the commercial area of that community is separated from Candlewood Lake. Like the freeway runs in between the lake and the downtown area.
Oh,
So,
okay.
So that part, it was pretty congested when I was in town, and I was kind of surprised by that.
So do people get off of the freeway, you think, and frequent the strip malls? That's why there's strip malls. Like, are they making it commuter friendly? Is that what you're thinking? Like, is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, I don't know. That's like the freeway runs through the middle of their
okay.
town.
So,
So
all
I don't
right.
know
It is what
the
it
reason for that. I guess
All
they
right.
just built the interstate there. To me, it feels like, why wouldn't you build it on the other side of
Yeah,
the downtown and
right.
not cut off,
Yeah.
But I guess,
So
I don't know. People don't care.
What's the vibe there?
The vibe there is it's definitely suburban for sure. I mean, I think it's let me see, how many 80,000 people. So it's a lot of people. It's a pretty sizable town.
big.
Yeah,
That is big.
$400,000 to $700,000 houses seem to be the average for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, somewhere in that range. Yeah, it's definitely more. It's more of a city. It used to be a major hub for supplies during the Revolutionary War.
Oh,
And
Wow.
it was also a major railroad center afterward. So there is a lot, like I shouldn't say a lot. You can't, like you have to go look to find it. But there is some colonial sort of history and all that there.
are there
So
colonial homes there?
there are some, yeah. I think it's more on not where I was. Where I was, it seemed like all those houses had been built within the last 30 years.
Okay.
Some of them really new.
What's the draw?
I think for that particular town, honestly, it's about 55 miles outside of New York City.
Oh, there you go.
So I think people can jump on a train or be in and out of the city relatively quickly.
And you can get a decent house. You're saying 3-bedroom, 2-bath for anywhere between $400 and $700 on an acre of property. Can't get that in New York.
No, you definitely
Right.
cannot get
Okay.
that kind of space there. So I think that's one of the reasons that it's so populated. I mean, it's not as close to New York City as it's right on the border, actually, of the New York state line between Connecticut and New York.
So it's pretty close.
Yeah.
All right.
There are 5 towns around there. Danbury is the largest. I went through Sherman. It was the least populated of the 5 towns. And I said, oh my gosh, like my eyes got really big. And there are all these kind of farm size lots there. Some people had sheep and goats and all that business. And I was like, oh, okay, this looks really good. Mind you, as I'm blowing through town after town in Connecticut, the leaves had changed for the fall. It was spectacular.
How pretty.
Connecticut was spectacular when I was there. So I know it's gotten colder already, And so I went through Sherman, and it looked great. But I realized after looking at Zillow, we couldn't afford to live there.
In Sherman?
In Sherman. It's less populated. It's like 20,000 people or something like that.
Oh, that's tiny.
It's like a large area. It's like
spread out.
As large as Danbury,
So
but
it's
a quarter of the people. Yeah, it's spread out. But like the properties are like, I mean, real estate is like a $1.2 to $5 million house. So
we talked about this. Is Sherman where Kira Sedgwick lives?
That I don't know. I can't remember.
I think it is. I think, is it a lot of ranches?
Yeah, there were a lot.
I think that's where what's Footloose? What's his name?
Kevin Bacon?
That's it, Kevin.
You can't remember.
I just went blank for a minute.
You're 6 degrees removed from Kevin Bacon?
I think that Sherman is I could be wrong. But okay. If it's starting. Okay,
someone will fact check us.
Oh, 100%. Okay, so anyway, so houses start at 1.6.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sherman's out. But it was pretty to drive through.
It was.
Okay.
It was beautiful. I mean, the whole area was beautiful. I did a hike down to Candlewood Lake. Awesome. I did one hike in Danbury, and then I did another one nearby in New Fairfield. And incidentally, I should say I downloaded this app called All Trails. Have you heard of it?
No.
Oh, we could have used it our entire trip last year.
Oh, nice.
It would have come in really handy.
That. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I can't recommend All Trails enough. They're not paying for a single thing on this podcast yet, but hopefully one day, right? And so we can all dream. And but that app was really helpful in saying, okay, if you want to do a 2-mile loop, go to this place and you can do a smaller loop. Or there's also a 3-mile offshoot if you want to, increase your distance or whatever. So that part was great.
Okay.
And then moving around Candlewood Lake, there was New Fairfield, 14,000 people, has over 1,000 acres of public recreation.
Whoa, they really cater to the people in that town.
This whole area, I mean, trail after trail after trail, so many old, Native American trail related mountains and all that.
Wow.
So, I'm stammering my words, but all this stuff was, clearly previously owned by Native Americans at some point. And so I did a hike down Squantz Pond Trail, Squantz, and that's named after.
You pronounce that pretty darn well.
You don't know that. I mean, maybe it's Squantz. I don't know. Maybe they say it differently.
It sounded good.
I know. I sold it.
You did.
Yeah.
I bought it.
And so anyway, that was named after a chief of one of the Native American tribes there. I can't really speak to the downtown area there.
And what town was that?
New Milford.
Okay.
Sorry. We're going to get to New Milford. New Fairfield.
Okay.
This goes back to our previous episode.
All the news.
New Haven, knew this, knew that.
Yeah. Okay.
New Fairfield.
Okay.
Yeah. I was headed for the trail. I didn't see a town green. There may be one. I'm not sure.
So all of these towns that you're describing right now are all on this lake.
They're all on this lake.
Okay.
And when I get through the next two, I'm going to summarize my thoughts on this area.
Ahead. All right.
So New Milford is the next one. It seemed to have a lot more shops, restaurants. There was a more of a walkable sort of main town green area. And, they had a place for music, community events, all that. It felt like Guilford, a little more like, our visit there. There were several locations in that town that were part of the Underground Railroad.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so
New Milford.
In New Milford, yeah. You can get a map and everything.
Could you go and visit?
Yeah. I mean, there are like little tours and everything you can do to go see
so it's still
some
open.
of these locations.
Okay. All right.
So, and then a lot more houses in that area. So our sweet spot, I think you'll agree, we've talked about this a lot. Our sweet spot is somewhere between 400 and 700,000 for a house, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
For about, an acre, a couple acres if we can get it, and 2,500 to 3,000 square feet. We could certainly find that around here.
New Milford.
In this area.
Okay.
I found a 3,000 square foot house on 6 acres for $560,000.
What town?
New Milford.
That's really reasonable.
Yeah.
For what we've seen across the board, like when we traveled to other places. I mean, obviously, we've seen prices like that in other cities.
Yeah.
But that's not the norm, really.
Yeah.
It's not the norm to have that many acres. You can find a house like that, but with that many acres.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. But my favorite around the lake by far was Brookfield. It's the 5th of 5 towns that I visited. And I got to say, I inadvertently saved the best for last.
Are you serious?
For me, I thought it was fantastic.
Why? What was so great about Brookfield?
16,000 residents, not too big, not too small. A lot of colonial houses, a lot of historic houses. Again, I was there in the fall, so a lot of farmers markets, a lot of, like I say farmers markets, but it's basically family-owned farms with an open barn, and people can pull in there. And I know how much you enjoy that stuff when we're in the country.
Gosh, that's
so
amazing.
You city girls,
so you
love
literally
that kind
can
of thing.
just drive from farm to farm. And
yeah, I think there were a handful there that I passed.
Cow.
I was just kind of driving around and looking around.
That's amazing.
It had, to me, it seemed to have as much character as some of the other places that we've seen.
Okay, we love these cities. If you've been listening to our show, this is what really gets us excited. These small towns that have some culture, that also are near big cities. But I gotta be honest with you, if you're a kid growing up, this has gotta be like not the best place to live. 16,000 people.
No, you're probably bored out of your mind
Out of
when
your
you're
mind.
a kid. Yeah.
Out of your mind. But for us, this sounds perfect.
It does. I mean, so let's talk about Candlewood Lake for a second. It's like ice skating in the winter that I'm not going to do, but other people might like that.
Me and Phil.
Yeah. Denise and Phil.
That's right.
Who can skate. Check out our Orlando episode where we talk about that. Did we talk about, Lake Placid?
Yeah.
We talked about it on our Lake Placid episode.
Phil and I are going to get on some skates. We're going to do some, what's it called?
Triple axles.
Lindy's. What are those?
The Lindy's. Triple Lindy is actually from back to school.
Phil and I
That's
are
a
gonna do
dive.
Triple Lindy's.
Yeah. But there's a lot of fishing. There's trout. There's largemouth bass. All that stuff. If you're
boating.
A lot of boating.
What
Swimming.
houses?
You can swim. The water's safe to swim in.
Oh, you won't get sick.
Unlike Mobile Bay.
Oh my gosh.
Unlike some of the other places we've been.
You won't get sick.
There are moments where there's some blue algae. Like if it gets too hot and it doesn't rain, they have blue algae days. But they tell you ahead of time, hey, don't swim today. So
what are the houses like on the water?
They're gorgeous. My Lord.
Prices. Let's talk about Of course they're gorgeous. They're on the water.
On the waterfront in many of these communities, you're looking at least 1.5.
Wow, that's so expensive.
There are some shacks that you can get like I think in one town I saw like a 600 square foot house or something like that.
Again, with a 600 square foot house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't even think that was on the water. With all those houses, though, if you have the means to afford the waterfront property, many of them come with the boat slip, the dock as part of your...
I'm aware of what a boat slip is. Thank you.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
You grew up on the south side.
It doesn't matter. I know what a boat slip is.
Okay, good. It's a dock.
Carol and Rick had a boat. I know what a boat slip is. Thank you very much. Kat had a boat. I know what a boat is. Thank you very much.
But some of the boat slips are actually community owned, so you have to check if you're going to buy real estate in that area. Sometimes the boat slip does not come with the mortgage. So then it goes, if it's one of those set up through the community marina or what have you, it just goes to the next person on the wait list when that house sells.
Wait, okay. So hold on for a second.
So it may not be included.
Okay, you have a beautiful lakefront house, but that dock that is in front of your house, Joey down the street owns.
No, it's more marina stuff. Like if you're living slightly off the water or what have you, you could still obviously have a boat slip. It just may not transfer with the sale of your house. So I'm not talking about the $1 million home. Yeah, all the $1 million homes right on the water. Yeah, they have their own boat slip. Yeah. But not everybody has that home, but many people have a boat.
Got it.
And so they pay for their boat slip. And historically, a lot of those have come with the sale of the property, but it's not always the case anymore.
Okay.
So that's it. Sell your house, you can lose your boat slip.
All right.
Just the nature of things. So
that's really not great. It's not great for the new buyer.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not great for the new buyer. Yeah.
Good to know.
So you have to clarify that in the sale.
Some people just want a lakefront house and don't have a boat or care to have a boat, and they just want the lakefront property. So you have to be that kind of buyer. But okay, good to know.
Yeah. So, in that area, New Milford, Brookfield, my favorite, and Sherman, of course, are parts of Sherman are among the most desirable, and that is because they are on the east side of the lake. So you get the lake sunsets.
Oh. Ooh, who would have thought of
when
that?
the sun sets on the west side.
That's so pretty.
It is.
Okay.
The lake is gorgeous no matter what. It was freezing cold the day I walked down there, but I went all the way down there. I found a swing where people swing. I didn't. I know it was freezing. It was cold.
Oh, it wasn't. It was a swing that goes out into the water.
Yeah.
I was thinking like a swing, like
like
feet.
grandpa on the porch type thing. No,
yeah, like
no, like that.
Like someone push you.
No, legit, like you swing out into the water.
Push me, Dad.
Yeah. Did you go swinging? Did someone push you, hun, from the behind, and you were swinging?
No. And it was cold, and I did not swing into the water either.
Okay.
Although people on my social media were telling me to do so.
Go swing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was just, I take care of my pores.
Okay.
So, I'm worried about that kind of stuff.
All right.
So,
That would have been a good moment. That would have been a good social media moment. It's kind of hard to take a selfie on a swing.
Yeah.
I would think you'd be like,
Well, I mean, plus I'm not from there. So it's like I swing out and I hit my head on a rock and that's it. I'm by myself. And next thing you know.
You can't with your phone because your phone will get wet. So you can't even do a selfie on a swing with the phone.
Yeah. But I'm also talking about just survivability.
Oh,
that
too. Be careful.
You shouldn't do rope swings by yourself generally.
I agree. Agreed.
Whether you're,
young or old.
Or in cold weather, hot weather is what I was going to say. That's all right. So anyway, but that finally being in that area allowed me to, as I said, reconnect with my friend Jeff.
Yeah.
And got to meet his family for the first time and all that. He lives in Newtown. Mm-hmm. And I must say, Newtown is spectacular.
Were you expecting that when you arrived?
No, I was not.
So you left thinking Brookfield is my place.
I mean, yeah, I kind of thought, okay,
I'm going to tell Denise, forget Guilford because it's Brookfield.
Yeah.
And then you got to Newtown. See, you are so fair weather. This happens all the time. I mean, you were like that lover who always in love with the new person. It's seriously, there's no
I'm
there's
addicted
no
to love.
There's no
I'm
substance.
addicted to loving new
there's
hometowns.
No substance to you. You are just in love with the new lover all the time.
Just give me a cup of apple cider and kids playing football in the middle of colorful
again.
Leaves, and there I am.
Here we go again. Roll my eyes. Oh, he's in love again. Okay.
All right. Newtown has a great town square, a great Main Street vibe, lots of colonial buildings. Hawleyville, Hawley, Ville, is a small neighborhood that's been around since the 1700s.
Oh, whoa.
And it's part of Newtown, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so a lot of colonial action going on there. Go out and kill us some redcoats, babe. Come on, it's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, you know what? I will move there if you dress up during
I have to do reenactments to entertain you.
If you join the reenactment acting troupe, I will move there.
Okay.
Can I please get a Paul Revere? The British are coming.
The British are coming.
Can you do that?
No, do it.
Get it.
Hold on. Let me solo you.
Am I on?
Wait.
The British are coming. How was that?
7 out of 10.
It wasn't great.
Is it supposed to be an American accent? Because but he would still have a British accent.
The British are coming. The British are coming.
Oh, you did it better than I did.
The British are coming. The British are.
You sound like Oliver Twist.
Okay, so you land in Newtown and you're all again in love. Let's just talk about this love affair.
Jeff's house is so charming. Old farmhouse. It's spectacular. He's got a meadow in his backyard.
Aww.
It's insane.
I feel like you were me when I was in Guilford. Like giddy, couldn't wait to share it with you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you have to see this.
I know, I called you from there.
You did.
Yeah,
so Newtown was your Guilford.
I was so surprised that you could, every road that I went down off of the main street, it seemed had a house. And then you'd drive 300 or 400 yards, going 40 miles an hour, or whatever. And then you'd find another house. And it was just a perfect.
Acres.
The grouping was amazing. Yeah, I just felt like the houses had enough space between them where you still had neighbors and you could still,
Was it a home away from home?
I think, yeah. Was it a home away from home? Yeah.
I know what you are striving to get in a home.
I'm striving to get a home.
I know, to get a home.
At home.
But makes you feel you're away a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Does Newtown do that for you?
You and I talk about our ultimate property we probably want is one where you feel like it's a retreat as you're coming up the driveway. You can fully get that. There's forest everywhere.
Okay.
If the land is cleared, then it's not, it doesn't feel like flat farmland. You know what I mean? It's like there are mountains there and there's just enough topography. That's a fancy word for hilly country and all that.
Is there a lake?
Newtown is a little further east of Candlewood Lake, but everybody goes to Candlewood Lake. Okay. So, it's about probably 20, 25 minutes, something like that.
So it has that green, it has the downtown, it has colonial homes, it has acres and acres. So this sounds amazing. How many people live there?
It was a win. Population 28,000.
That's small.
Not tiny, but not huge.
It's smaller than your 60,000 in, what was the first city you went to?
Well, yeah, but Danbury, but that was 80,000.
Yeah. Oh, 80,000. So it's smaller than that. Okay, I don't think 28,000 is a lot.
No, I mean, in comparison to some of the other places where we really loved.
Yeah.
So I felt like, it was small and big enough and clean and just like I said, I mean, you have so much access to nature in this entire region.
What did you do in Newtown?
Hung out with Jeff, had a little barbecue at a place, drove around. Honestly, I looked at properties a lot. So, I'd wake up in the morning, go out there for a couple hours, drive around. And I just thought, I really did think it was fantastic. So,
okay. I guess it's going to be a place I have to visit now.
Yeah, you should probably definitely check it out.
Okay.
Poverty rate is low. There's a Brad Street farm, a popular place where people get their produce and all that. National bike trails pass through Newtown.
What's that?
The national bike trails, like legit, you can travel the nation, across the nation, and some of those trails go through Newtown.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know such a thing existed.
Pootutuck State Forest. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Pootuck.
Here,
Forest.
look at this Native American tongue you've got going on right now.
I know.
Okay.
120 miles of trails.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a hiker's paradise. It really is. The whole region is insane. If you
see a lot of bikers.
You want to throw mountain bikers. Yeah.
Really?
Saw a lot of mountain bikes on cars, and on the trail I saw a few here and there.
Okay.
I was there. I mean, most of my stuff I was doing during the week. So, And
that doesn't mean anything. People bike during the week.
Not at 1:00 in the afternoon.
Oh, where were you doing?
I work on West Coast time, so
Okay, that's still like 10 o'clock. You should have been working. What were you doing at 1:00?
Moving on. Median home.
I called you. You weren't answering. What the heck were you doing?
Median home.
The British are coming.
The British are coming. Median home value is around $420K, with many being on 1 or 2 acre lots.
Wow.
I'm not really seeing that. Like, that's a stat that came up. I'm not seeing that so much on Zillow. They're a little more expensive than that. What are you
seeing?
Like 600-700.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a couple 100,000 difference. But
is it like the double wide that's $420,000?
No, these houses are not double wides, and that was the allure of the place. Like pound for pound, cool farmhouse, and I'm not talking like the sidings coming off and all that. Like these places are kept up. Okay. It's pretty obvious people in this community take a lot of pride in their homes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's no joke.
Okay.
So. And if that wasn't enough to sell you on it, Michael Bolton lives there.
Oh, done deal. Done deal.
I don't know if he still lives there, actually. I just random thing that came up.
Okay.
And then from there, I actually went to check out, I was on my way up to Massachusetts to see Ellie play the following weekend. And I actually went through New London briefly. There was a point in time where Ellie might have gone on to Connecticut College, and I finally got to see that campus. She didn't want to go to New London because she said, it's, out in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing to do. But frankly, I must say, even though it's kind of a fishing town, like a fishing, shipping industry town, frankly, there's a lot more to do there than there is in Hartford, in downtown funny? Hartford. Uh-huh. Yeah. So she would have been fine there, but it doesn't matter. She picked her school. So anyway, but I thought Connecticut College's campus is beautiful.
Oh, wow.
It's gorgeous.
In New London. Uh-huh.
They have an arboretum how do they say? Arboretum? They
I
have
thought-
trees and a lake. And so, and
That's
like,
it.
and they like have it closed off. Like it's a thing where you go
That's
through
it.
the arches.
And there's
Yeah.
a roof on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
okay.
arboretum.
Arboretum.
That's what I think it is. Arboretum. Anyway.
I think.
So
Guys, you go to Connecticut and you come back with these big fancy words.
I know. I know. I'm highfalutin now.
I can't wait
The
for
small town Ohio boys come a long way. So anyway,
You're
so
speaking Native American. You're talking about arboretums,
I know I'm so cultured now.
arboretoriums.
Yeah. So that's the kind of gist. I mean, and I actually, you know this already. I actually did stay in Branford, and because I couldn't get a hotel, Guilford, the town you love so much,
I know. They have no
doesn't have a
hotels.
hotel.
They do not.
And so, but I did actually get to spend 2 days hanging out in that area, and I got to say, I see the allure. I know why you're into Guilford.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
But Newtown.
I also, Newtown maybe, but I also like Madison right next door.
I know you're so fancy. Here we go again.
Yeah, I
so
like shops.
okay, so you have Guilford. From my understanding, is like, let's just put it like the Charlie's Angels. Guilford is Jacqueline Smith, and then Madison is like Cheryl Ladd, the new angel that came in after Farrah Fawcett left. It's like, that's Madison. Now you're going for the blonde. Like you have the brunette, and now you're going to go for the new hot blonde.
Who was the other one?
Kate Jackson, babe. It's
Oh,
always
Kate Jackson.
Everyone, poor Kate Jackson.
Yeah,
Everyone forgets.
I always
about
forget
Kate.
Jacqueline Smith, though. I
Yeah.
followed her on Facebook
So-
for like 5 years.
poor Jacqueline Smith.
She's beautiful.
Poor Jacqueline.
I have a
Smith.
type.
You do. But
Pale white girls with dark hair.
I know, but it seems like now, like honestly, now we're going from Guilford, who is your Jacqueline Smith, to like Madison. You like everything. You like everything.
I do. I mean, the thing I liked about Madison was, like, the thing that I thought about Madison was, well, why would we move to Guilford when we're going to be spending all of our time in Madison? Because
But
that's where all the
we're not.
shops are. There are 3 restaurants in Guilford.
But there aren't that many restaurants in Madison.
There seem to be a lot more on the strip that I
From
drove
what
through.
everyone told me, people from Madison go to
Who are these
Guilford.
people?
They're Guilford people. And they,
Guilford people.
And they said people from Madison go to Guilford to eat because there's nothing
That's
to
so
do in
funny because
Madison.
I talked to somebody from Madison and they were like, yeah, like there's a little bit to do in Guilford when there's an actual community event going on. But
Remember I told you about this mentality in Connecticut?
Yeah.
Whatever town people live in, they kind of bad talk the other
Yeah.
town. So if you live in Guilford, you're like, Guilford is great. Do not go to Branford. And then if you live in Branford, you're like, Branford is great, but Madison is terrible. Don't go to Madison.
Yeah.
I mean, then if you go to Madison, like Branford and Guilford are just awful. It's crazy the
Yeah.
town loyalty in that part of the country.
It is.
And we see it all over.
Of
But
course.
especially there because all the cities are so close together. I mean, really every city is like, obviously you're going from one city to the other.
Right.
But along that coast, there is just coastal town pride.
there is.
Yeah.
There is. Yeah. I think some of that has to do as well. Like, they have kids in high school. They're, oh, don't go to like where I grew up. It was like the next town over. Oh, don't go there. Stay here.
Maybe.
And all that. So I don't know. Who knows? My ranking, though, is Madison, Guilford, Branford in that order.
Huh. Okay.
Although Guilford is a close second. Guilford has more charm. Like
Guilford is charming.
Guilford has
Yeah.
more like,
Guilford's
it feels
charming.
like a little more old school charm.
Yeah. Guilford's super
Whereas
charming.
Madison has a coffee shop.
Is Newtown more or less charming than Guilford?
As.
Okay. We're going to visit
Yeah.
for sure.
It's every
Okay.
bit is. So, anyway, so that kind of sums up my that sums up the Connecticut slam that I went through in those 10 days. I got a lot done. I felt a lot better coming back from Connecticut, having seen all these towns.
Good.
Finally,
You did
with
your
my own two
footwork.
eyes. Yeah.
You did your homework. Sorry. You did your footwork and your homework.
I did both. Yeah.
Does
So,
Connecticut have like a national snack or food or something like that you got a hold of?
They say that the pizza in America and the hamburger were both created in New Haven,
And their pizza,
which is about 10, 20 minutes away from Guilford.
and
20 minutes.
Their pizza, their like New Haven pizza, has mashed potatoes and bacon on it.
Wait a second.
There is, at bar.
My
at a
brain
place called
is my brain is thinking about it.
Bar. Yeah.
So we got tomato sauce.
Nope.
Oh,
No.
marinara sauce.
No.
Oh, so no.
It's like, what is it? A white sauce or something? Is there any sauce?
So what's on the
I don't know
pizza
if there's
then? If
white
it has
sauce.
mashed potatoes, is the mashed potatoes the base?
The mashed potatoes is the base, I believe.
No, it was like a lump of mashed potatoes, wasn't it? And
I
they
did
had
a whole video on this on YouTube, but you can see it. It's mashed potatoes, cheese, and bacon. That's what it is. But the mashed
It was
potatoes.
not my favorite. I like the traditional
Yeah. I
tomato
like it.
pie.
There's
at,
no red sauce.
at Frank Pepe's. So
Yeah, and then they do claim, I'm from Chicago. I couldn't even say anything. Like everyone was so aggressive about telling me that pizza started in New Haven and not to even argue with them. And I was like, okay. And then the hamburger too. So I was just, all right.
so that's
Well, I'll tell you though, Denise, you're from Chicago. Do you put ketchup on your hot dogs?
I do. I know. Yes, I do. Yes, Phil. And you want to go toe to toe with me on it?
No, I do too.
Okay.
But just had to ask.
The whole just mustard Chicago thing, that's recent. That's within the last 15
Chicago
years.
dogs suck. It's like eating a salad.
What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh! Are you
I'll
kidding me?
I'll fight you on that.
That's insane.
Versus an LA dog, there's no comparison.
no, you have
hot dog wrapped in bacon with
An
peppers.
LA dog has glitter on it. What are you talking
Oh
about?
yeah,
Agreed.
LA
agreed.
dog is the business.
No, he said it has glitter on it. I'm like, no, that's Chicago dog has tomatoes, onions, pickles, peppers.
It's not pickles.
mustard.
It's a cucumber.
It's a pickle across the
I know,
top.
but they're so.
It's so good. I do ketchup and mustard. That's me. I've always done it. I've never heard of the mustard thing. That is something totally new that some newbie in Chicago came up with. So no, if you can have ketchup on it.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, you can.
Okay. All right.
I just had to ask.
And now you started a war.
So yeah, the food, you're right. The food in Connecticut, they're known for their pizza.
Yeah.
They're known for their hamburgers, but New Havenese do the mashed potato bacon pizza. And if
I wasn't as big a fan of that,
if
which
you
is
want to
really
see
funny.
it, check out our YouTube shorts. I did a whole video about us having one, and it's thin crust. It's really, I liked it. I thought it was something different and delicious.
I'm sorry I
liked it.
stepped
You
on you.
can't
I didn't
even
realize you
call
were
it
going to throw us
pizza.
to social media there on that spot.
That's
so
fine. Because if anybody wants to see it, because I'm sure they're like, how do you put mashed potatoes on a pizza? So I did a whole video
it's
about
hard to
it.
envision. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
I wouldn't even call it a pizza.
I know. It didn't. It was.
It looks like a pizza, though. It just looks like a white pizza.
It was an interesting thing.
with bacon.
But the day we went out for it, I was just like, there's so much good pizza in this town. Like, why are we eating mashed potatoes? So, but it's a thing there. Like, people like it.
Yeah.
People love that place we went to. It was slammed. It was packed at lunch.
It is the place to go for
Bar.
mashed potato and bacon pizza.
Yeah. So, anyway. Okay. But all that talk about these places I visited and, kind of glossing over one important aspect about Newtown is that, a lot of people know in 2012, it was the place where Adam Lanza killed 26 people in an elementary school at Sandy Hook Elementary School.
That was the
And
first school shooting.
It was, I think it was the one that had kids so young. It was the largest school shooting at that point.
I thought it was the
Uvalde
first
is
one.
worse now.
Oh, but I did. I'm so sorry if I didn't get the facts straight, but I actually thought it was the first school shooting. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
I think there have been other school shootings,
Yeah,
but
there
the
were
first.
plenty before that. Like
Yeah.
Columbine was in '99.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I'm so sorry, Columbine.
Yeah.
You're right.
Nobody had ever gone into an
Wow.
elementary school.
Yeah,
before.
it was the worst school shooting with the youngest victims.
Yeah. So, and at that
6,
point,
I think, was the youngest.
yeah, it was the most victims up until Uvalde, I believe. So,
How far is that from Newtown, Sandy Hook?
it's a village inside Newtown.
Oh,
So it's kind of like,
wow. Did you see any signs of any kind of remembrances, anything like that?
I went to the memorial. Yeah. There's a new elementary school where the old one stood. There's actually a fountain, a memorial.
They tore it down, the old school.
Yeah, it's gone. And they built up a new one. But in the place of the old one, there's actually, it's gutting. I mean, I don't think you need to be a parent to think
Nope.
about little kids getting shot up. And then going off of that, all of the hatred and unwanted attention and wrongful accusations leveled against the parents of these kids by InfoWars and Alex Jones and all these like conspiracy websites who basically just fabricated a story to say that oh, the government is just using this as a false flag operation to take our guns away. It's like that part of it. You can't, it's difficult to travel through there and know the history of the place and separate that as somebody coming in new. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a statement you can make about the town to say, oh, they've moved on. There may be healing going on, but I don't
think you could ever move on from something like that.
I mean, it's going to take generations, right?
Yeah.
And it's difficult. Like I couldn't separate it while I was there, and I didn't like the last thing I wanted to do, frankly, was go see the memorial. But ultimately, I was like, you know what, I'm here. Like I have to go. So talked myself into it, and it's just. As someone who has kids, but again, I don't think you even need to have kids to be who.
The people, some of them still live there, most likely.
Oh yeah, they definitely do.
The parents, and
they won I think it's $1 billion lawsuit against Alex Jones. And recently he tried to roll it up into a bankruptcy so that he wouldn't have to pay any of it. And just last month, I think August 23rd or something like that, a federal bankruptcy court denied his claim and said that because he, willfully subjected the plaintiffs to all of this emotional damage. They were doxxed online. They were accused of being false like actors. Who had been in other national catastrophes and all that stuff.
Okay, so let's talk about this just for a minute, because we can go down a rabbit hole. Just like any conspiracy theories, you can go down a rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. Were the kids never really dead? Where were these kids that supposedly died that Alex Jones saying weren't dead? Where were they?
He said they were all actors. The parents and the children were all actors.
Where are the kids?
Or the kids never existed to begin with. They were just photos of kids that,
Oh, so the police force, though, lied too.
The CIA all these people.
The teachers lied. The teachers that were killed.
FEMA came in. All these,
teachers were killed
whoever.
too.
ATF came in. It was all fake.
Oh, it was all staged.
It was all staged. That's the claim.
Like the world is flat stage. Like that whole, it was done in a studio.
Yeah. And, because he's got so many listeners or whatever. And,
what was his proof that it was staged?
I don't watch. So, but,
he had to have
day
proof.
after day after day.
He had to show something that it was staged.
I mean,
right?
you repeat something.
The only thing he went off of was a video from one of the victims' fathers. He was smiling during an interview.
He was smiling during an interview?
So then he went off of that. One video.
Well, the parent could have been smiling, holding back tears, because sometimes you have to do the opposite when you're on an interview, because if you don't, you'll break down. I mean, that's just, everybody knows that. Like
that's what he went off of. So just that one video.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, I don't know. It's like, that's a consideration if you're going to move to Newtown, I think,
wow.
There are plenty of people who do. My friend Jeff moved there. I don't know if he was there before. I think he moved there.
People still moved to New York in 9/11.
Yeah. So,
it's part of the culture in Newtown. It's just part of the fabric of this town now.
Right.
Question though, you just mentioned New York and people moving. Because do you think, and this is a horrible question to ask, but do you think that the bigger the tragedy, it's easier to move to? Let's say more people, more casualties, versus like something like Sandy Hook is harder to move to, or does it matter the size of the city?
That's a good question.
I think it definitely. I think it's more diluted in a city with 10, 12 million people or whatever.
Yep, I agree.
When 3,000 people die on 9/11 versus a town of 28,000 where it's like these were school kids and
That's a good point. Yes, Phil, I would say. It is probably easier to move to a bigger city where it's more diluted.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's a way bigger deal in a smaller town.
Well, because a small town, everyone's affected by that in a small town.
I mean,
in a city, yes. The whole country was affected by 9/11, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think it's spread out more. It's diluted. That's the perfect word. It's diluted. You don't necessarily in a city like, let's talk about Oklahoma City bombing.
Yeah.
Let's use Oklahoma City bombing, New York 9/11. Your neighbor wouldn't necessarily be affected by that terror attack.
Right.
But in a city like Newtown or Sandy Hook, chances could be probable that your neighbor, it was their grandkid, it was their sister's best friend's kid, it was their niece, their nephew.
Yeah, somebody who knew somebody. I mean, I forget how
Yes.
many died in the Oklahoma City bombing, but it's probably comparable, like as many people that died there
In New York,
that
as in
day.
New York, yeah, as in New York.
You know,
As
no,
in
I'm saying
9/11?
like
I
saying
think
Oklahoma.
I think 200 something people died.
Yeah.
In Oklahoma City bombing?
Yeah.
That's kind of a lot of people. So you knew somebody who knew somebody, I would think, in the Oklahoma City bombing.
Oklahoma City's really big. I don't know.
168.
Okay, but Oklahoma City's really big. What's the population of Oklahoma City? I mean, it's got to be like, what, 150,
No, but
60,000?
at that time, there were only like, 10 buildings in downtown Oklahoma City?
So as of
I don't know.
2021, it's over almost 700,000.
I said there was 168,000 people in Oklahoma City. Oh my gosh, I know nothing. 700,000
That's a lot.
people.
That's a lot of people.
Okay,
So do Orlando then. I mean, we had Pulse.
Oh, yeah, the Pulse
Oh,
nightclub
you did.
massacre.
You know,
Okay.
49 people.
and how many people live in Orlando?
I think 300,000.
What is that like? What do people still talk about it?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean,
Do you know anybody that
It
was
happened on
affected
like
by
a
it?
busy weekend night, right? Like
yeah, I
people
was
were
working
out.
that night at the hospital. But yeah, I know people who
Were affected?
were affected. Yeah, my coworker was murdered.
Oh.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know then if it's diluted. I'm not sure if I could. I think in a bigger city it's diluted, but you're proving me wrong that in a city of 300,000, people are still talking about it. You're affected by it. His coworker died.
Plus, we're talking about, you know,
don't know.
a terrorist attack versus a wacko with a gun, you know? So,
What's the difference?
Well, I mean, I just think when it's somebody where it's like they're all senseless, of course. It's like nobody fathomed, but there was a national response to 9/11, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if this happens in your community,
You're right.
you're just one of some of the other communities where this has happened now. You know what I
get you.
mean?
I get what you're saying.
You know, so there just doesn't seem like if my
You're right.
theory is if Sandy Hook didn't turn the tide on some of these politicians, like finally trying to figure something out when it came
didn't.
to controlling this epidemic, it absolutely did not. And if that wasn't going to turn the tide, then, but you know, the people in any of these towns we're talking about, any of these incidents we're talking about, even Maine, the most recent one, Lewistown, if that didn't turn the tide, then, you know, these people would just think like, oh, we're out here on our own then. I guess this just happened and the world's going to move on, you know?
I still think a small town is affected differently.
I would say it's like when the fabric of the community is, you know, like Newtown is like, I think it's like a trick-or-treating, like a place where people go trick-or-treating or whatever, like it's a big deal. And now all of a sudden, like it's just like one of those
Everything
towns
changed. Everything
where,
changed.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's no moving on. I don't want to say there's moving on because
No.
it didn't feel to me like there was a moving on
Yeah.
of any sort. There's a remembrance and that's huge.
What do you think, Phil? Do you think it's different from a big town to a small town?
I mean, I think James hit the nail on the head. You know, if it's something like where the entire country responds to it, like 9/11, I think there's more of an impact because we feel it and we see it every day.
Yeah.
You know, and the whole country is banding together. When something like this happens, when it's localized, yeah, there'll be national news for a few days, but people everywhere else not in this zone will forget about it.
Yeah.
That is really true.
Yeah.
That is,
Wow.
yeah.
So
What do
I
you-
enjoyed my time all through that region of Connecticut. That was huge. You and I have definitely put that as like sort of a bullseye on our map. And I'm glad. I mean, I'm better for going there overall,
Aw,
city to city,
okay.
town to town. So
So I guess we just have to narrow it down. And we'll do that on our Connecticut trip because we are going.
yeah. So that's it. I mean,
Okay.
you know, I think there are a lot of communities there that have what we're looking for. The one advantage I would say that your favorite town, Guilford, has is its proximity to the Long Island Sound. That's
Oh yeah, it's right there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to be difficult to replicate. I mean, I grew up on a lake. I'm a freshwater boy, but yeah, that access to the ocean, to the salt water is pretty huge. So
Yeah. And I'm not even a water person. It's just so beautiful. I just want to look at it. I don't necessarily need to be in it. I just want to look at it.
Yeah.
And not to say that we're going to be able to afford waterfront property, but Guilford, like the whole area.
Oh yeah,
of Guilford,
I hope you weren't saying that.
No, I definitely was not. But just like being able to drive there within like minutes.
Yeah.
That's what's the beauty of Guilford is they have lakes and then they have the Long Island Sound.
Yeah.
Is it the Sound? Is that what it's called? No,
Long
it's
Island
like the,
Sound.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's
okay.
the Sound.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's right there also. It's just amazing. You have both options.
Yeah. Definitely. So, okay, moving on, I want to talk about a different topic. We've touched on it already, but in all of these news stories that we're talking about, the Pulse nightclub, maybe less so because that was an adult, but even the most recent one in Maine, this guy, Robert Card, had been having problems. He was actually training, I think, to be some sort of military firearms instructor or something like that. And his commanders had reported him as like being somebody who like is potentially disturbed. He had been to he had undergone clinical diagnosis in New York, and all of a sudden he had all these problems. And as an adult, I think it's a little harder. This country is definitely more sensitive when it comes to saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't have weapons. Clearly we have a problem with that. Even in the situation where authorities have been notified and warned, like this guy may be a problem, in the case of all the, I guess the sheriff's department or whatever in that region in Maine, they were aware of him, but they didn't really do anything about it. I know. So what could you do? But here's my question, and this is my topic. In the case of Adam Lanza, who went and shot up Sandy Hook, he was a kid that had demonstrably had mental health issues his entire life, and his parents somehow allowed him to have access to these weapons. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just like a hunting rifle where he, single shot. It wasn't like a single shot 12 gauge or anything like that, like legit, like, semi-automatic weapons. I guess my question is this: how do you feel like, why are parents not being held responsible and taken to prison? Am I wrong?
I'm on the fence.
Well, can I say something?
Go ahead.
So in the case of Adam Lanza, his mother did try to take him out of school 5 different times because of his weird behavior.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember, but he killed his mom.
Yeah.
He did.
So, I mean.
Yeah, in that case, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Yeah.
Can't hold her accountable.
He killed her before he did what he did.
Okay, so we can't take her to jail. But my question is, why would you even have those weapons in your household if you knew your kid had these kind of problems?
Yeah, and I'm in that boat too, because I have a special needs child who is violent. Uh-huh. And we live in an area where you should have protection. So we kind of have that dilemma.
Yeah.
I don't have any firearms currently at the house, but we probably should.
Right.
And so what does somebody like me do? Because my son is borderline schizophrenic.
Oh, okay.
Who knows? One day he could be fine. The next second he wants to kill us.
Yeah.
And so I really that's a great question to ask, because I honestly don't know what to do in that situation.
But in the situation where tech, like we're in an era where tech seems to solve a lot of these issues, where's the tech on this that can help somebody out who, I know they have fingerprints.
Oh, like a fingerprint gun?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or locks at the very least, I don't know.
I just think, okay, so my thought on it is it could go either way. If the parents have been negligent, then yes. Yeah. But if the parents have sought out mental health help for their child, or in his case, she took him out of school 5 times, he ended up murdering her. I mean, she was making an effort. Not everyone is equipped financially to get the help they need. I mean, sometimes they just have to rely on the system, and we all know the system isn't always available for people. I'm on the fence about it. If they actively sought out help for their child, I don't think they should be held responsible. But if they were negligent and they had firearms just laying around, and they had known from teachers, from neighbors that this kid was a problem, then they should be held responsible. But I think it has to go on a case by case basis. And then the whole, well, where is tech? Why don't they have, why don't we have more guns like with fingerprint, capabilities? Okay, if somebody wants to kill someone, they're going to go around that. I don't care about that. They're going to go around it.
Oh yeah, totally agree.
He'll
with
find
that.
a gun.
It could, yeah,
He'll steal
for
a
sure.
gun. He'll steal a gun. If somebody wants to kill someone, they're going to find a way.
Okay, but we're talking about, so let's take Phil's example, right? You live in an area where, like you said,
safety's a concern.
Safety's a concern, and you should consider owning a firearm, right? Mm-hmm. I can't really say touring around Newtown that rang of the same vibe. You know what I mean? When the population is 96% white and it's all hunters, and it wasn't a crime-ridden area. I mean, we're talking, like I said, we're talking houses.
I'm saying case by case system, yeah.
Yeah, I agreed. But and I know in this case, the mom was held accountable because she was the first victim. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I feel like it's just so foolish to have. And even if you're talking basic protection, right, for you and your family, we have protection for our family, all that. But if I knew one of my kids had a special problem, mm-hmm. I wouldn't have an AR-15 in my house. I wouldn't have a weapon.
Agreed. You would be held responsible then in that case.
Right.
You know that the child has a mental illness and you still proceeded to get a gun like that. Then you should be held accountable in some way. Yeah. Yes. Again, it's a case by case. It's just me. What do you think?
I know, but there's got to be a legal threshold where it's kind of like.
What do you mean?
It's not just about negligence at that point.
Enabling?
Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm going with it. It was like you've enabled this situation now because.
How come no one's thought of that? You don't. It's.
Oh, I think it's been tried. I know it has. I mean, there are different laws on the books in different states.
Yeah.
It just currently, with the way gun laws work, there are a lot of loopholes. It's easy to get out of.
Like I know, handguns commit way more crimes than AR-15. It's just that all of the mass shootings are those type of weapons. Yeah. So I mean, I'm all about the Second Amendment, but I do think things need to change when it comes to weapons like that. Because granted, like you just said, Denise, if somebody wants to kill somebody, they will attempt to. But if they don't have access to buy an AR-15, there's still some barrier there. Even if he gets a handgun, it would be hard. It's still hard. I hate to say he may not have killed 26 people, but he may not have killed 26 people
with a handgun.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make it harder. Oh, I get it.
Yeah. But the people, and again, I'm all like, I agree with the Second Amendment to a point. I just feel like, if you have proven yourself to be a domestic abuser, or if you, whatever your garden variety sort of items on a list are that would prevent somebody from probably, like, these people should probably not have a handgun. I think it's so crazy that, the gun lobby in this country has been able to. It's kind of like the abortion issue.
I was just going to say, I love how in
terms of like rape and incest and all that other stuff. It's like, no, across the board, you can't have any abortion ever. And now it's like, but it's fine to kill a bunch of little kids. But on the flip side, it's kind of like, okay, well, unlike abortion, you can have whatever you want. You know what I mean?
No, to me, they're talking on both sides of their mouth. It's like, no, don't kill babies, but it's okay to kill babies.
Right. But only after they're born.
Only after they're born. Yeah. Yep, exactly. And people have said this before. When they wrote the Second Amendment, there was no AR-15.
There were no rocket launchers.
There was no mental illness. I mean, if there was, it wasn't to the extent where people are shooting up malls and outdoor venues and now elementary schools.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it needs to be modified. Something needs to be changed. There has, I don't know. Yeah.
It's an uphill battle because we were in.
Don't kill babies, but kill babies.
Yeah, we went through Texas shortly after Uvalde, and the amount of T-shirts we saw in Texas, just all sorts of whatever the slogans were, the NRA or gun lobby type slogans or whatever, for my cold dead hands and that whole thing, and I don't know.
I do wonder if the people that are activists would feel differently if one of their own children or grandchildren was in a shooting. I bet they wouldn't. I bet the Second Amendment would change for them. Because I think you are what you are until you're affected by what you are.
Oh, yeah. Like there's so many homophobes until they have a gay kid, or a gay grandchild, or racist until, their daughter marries somebody of another ethnicity.
And not that I would want that for any single person, but it's almost like they're lacking empathy. They really are lacking empathy for what people in America are going through that are subjected to these mass murders. Like, it's almost like they're so, what's the word? Cut off.
Black and white.
Yeah, but it's not, and I would never, ever want that for somebody. But I think that you don't understand it until it's happened to you. I feel like for some people, not everybody, you and I understand it. We haven't been affected. Phil understands that he hasn't been affected. I have plenty of people who also think that something needs to be changed with the Second Amendment, or just make it harder for people to get, guns. But then you have others who are like, no, you're right. From my cold dead hand, or whatever that slogan is. And
which is so funny, because if you go to a gun range, right, and somebody's acting erratically, they will come in and scoop that weapon away from them. Like somebody there, a trainer or whatever, professional, will come in and take it. And it's like, and we can't do this on like a nationwide scale. Like we should all admit there are people who should not have access to firearms. And whatever that system is, but gun manufacturers are never going to let that happen. So, and certainly not the politicians. But anyway, the beat goes on in, the only industrialized nation where this continues to happen. But okay. So anyway, that's my soapbox moment. What do you got?
No, that wasn't totally a soapbox moment. I think we can all agree that something needs to change.
Yeah. So anyway, we got to end on a better note.
All right. Well, I have something for you that's a little bit on a better note. I've been thinking a lot because, we're at an age now where our friends are, unfortunately, some of them getting divorced. And when you and I met, we met the organic way at a bar.
That's what Americans do?
We meet
well,
at
I
a
think
bar.
people worldwide do that, right?
No, James, not anymore. Now people are meeting on apps. That's how people are meeting.
Well, that's been going on for a while, honey.
Yeah, but now it has been going on for a while. You're absolutely right. But now I feel it has gone like to the point of no return, where people no longer even, to me, people are just being lazy. There's no interest anymore in even going out and meeting somebody when you can just be on your phone on a Friday night in your
swipe left or right
in your underwear and t-shirt and do all the pre-dating. To me, it's just like, I don't know. I don't get it. I get the dating apps, sort of, but I'm like, you have to go out and make an effort to meet people, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. In the case of women, I mean, it saves them from kissing a lot of toads, right?
No, because
it saves them from kissing a lot of frogs to find their prince. And in the case of the guys, it's got to save them a ton of money in buying cocktails or coffees or dinners or whatever.
Here's how I feel. When I was single, I was only single until I didn't want to be single anymore. That's not the case. That's not the case. I know so many single people that want to meet someone and they cannot. Yeah. And I think the dating apps are horrific. Like, okay, I know I'm talking from not having an experience, but I'm talking from my friends who are all going through this. There's some people that I know
so let's talk about your female friends versus my male friends. So your female friends who are on the dating apps, what are the reports back?
Guys just want to have sex.
Okay. All right.
They're sending pictures they shouldn't be sending.
Oh, shoot. Really? Still at this age?
Yep. At this age.
It.
Yeah.
Never goes away.
No. They can't meet quality. It is very hard to meet quality people. That was never, was that really ever the issue when you would go out and date? Because when you're at a bar.
Yeah, you met tons of not quality people when you went out looking to date.
Okay, but you would just wrap that up at the bar. Like, you would be like, okay, he's weird or he's whatever. I'm going to talk to him at the end of the bar because he seems like, whatever.
Right.
In an app, I think it hides so much, because in an app, when you're in a face-to-face with somebody, you have to show courage.
Yeah.
You have to show eye contact. So you have to show confidence. You have to also show your
Basic hygiene.
Exactly. You have to show how educated you are in the way you speak. Because you can write anything in a text, and you can even look up how to spell all of that before you write it. But when you're in the moment, there is so much you cannot pre-plan in a moment that is so telling of someone's personality. You do not get that in an app or behind a screen. You just do not.
But you can sort of eliminate a lot of red flags about a lot of people and save yourself a lot of time if you just read their profile and you go through there, or you see their photos and you're instantly like, okay, I'm not attracted to this person.
I think the apps are killing.
You disagree?
Yeah, I think the apps are killing romance. I think it's killing spontaneity. And I think it's also killing social behavior. They're killing social behavior and how to mate. So like my kids, they're all in college or one's out of college. They're on dating apps. It's insanity to me. I'm like, you're in a school with 40,000 kids. If you can't meet someone in a classroom or party, there's something wrong here.
That's tough with the Gen Zs. I mean, it's tough. I'm not saying it's right, but it's like they're just so preconditioned to go to the phone for everything. Every little thing.
It's like they're robots. I think they're all weirdos. I say to my kids all the time, you're people. I always say you're people. And my kids say, what do you mean, my people? And I'm like, you're a weird generation. Like, you guys are just weirdos.
You want to know why I think that it's such a big thing now?
Why?
It's because we live, when I say we, I just mean humans. So we live in a microwave society. So we can have anything we want in an instant.
Yeah.
Whether it be, we live in a world of instant gratification. If I want food, put it in the microwave, I can call it, use the app, they'll bring it to me.
Yeah.
If I want some tail, I can go on Tinder,
It's
swipe,
true.
come to me. I want some attention. Let me post a picture on Instagram, million likes. You know what I'm saying? So we live in this society.
You get 1 million likes? How do you do that? We want 1 million likes.
I know.
You got to post feet pics. So we live in a society where everything is instant for us, right?
Yeah.
And so, and we want our dating to be like that too.
But it's not, though.
But it's not, which is why we all suffer from anxiety, ADHD, is because they cannot connect outside of the digital world.
Right.
And when it comes to dating, it's almost impossible now, Denise, because they can't. You can be the best talker, the best smooth talker in text, and then you meet that person in person. You're just like
100%. You're different. There's this joke my girlfriend said is, I'm a rock star on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. I mean, because it doesn't always translate into you and I in front of each other. I was in an Uber with this young guy. He had to be like 22.
Wait, what?
No, he was the Uber. He was the Uber driver. He was so charming.
Okay.
He was so charming. He was like, he showed up. The first thing I said to him, I go, oh, look at you all dressed up. And he goes, oh, thank you. He was so cute. I mean, he had a cute shirt on, cute pants. Like, he looked like he was going out. He was telling me his dating woes. He said when he is at a bar or a club, because he's club age, and he goes up and talks to girls, he said, I just try to make conversation with them. He's like, I already have like the line in my head. He's like, and was a very eloquent speaker in the car. This was a smart kid. Mm-hmm. He wasn't cheesy or anything like that, or cringy at all. He said when he goes up to girls and just tries to have a conversation with them, they laugh, they get nervous, they go off with their group and walk away from him. He said, I can't meet anybody. He said, I have to do it on my app. He said, and I'm a face-to-face person. Now, he's obviously an anomaly for his age.
Definitely.
But he's exactly what Phil is saying. He is exactly what Phil is saying, which is he cannot find somebody to date in person because of those people having anxiety, ADHD. They're not used to somebody coming up to them and having a conversation.
So lacking in interpersonal.
Yes, though, like the girls, people. It's obviously he's a boy, so he's talking about girls. But people, girls. Oh, okay, I have a friend a girl. She's beautiful. She's highly educated, has a master's degree, an amazing job, pretty, well traveled, and she cannot meet anybody. And I said to her one time, I said, why don't you go to a bar? I said, or go to like, go to because she makes good money. So she wants to meet somebody in her caliber. And I said, go to a high-end bar, like go to a country club bar or something like that. And she said, I've done that. She said, I walk in, everybody's looking at their phone. She goes, nobody looks up. So how can I even make eye contact with people when they're on their phone? How do you do that?
You airdrop them your picture of your D. Then they'll look up and see who it is, and you'd be like,
okay, that's really good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to call her and tell her to airdrop.
That's difficult. I mean, as far as the younger generations go, I really don't know what to say. Like when our kids and everything, I agree with you 100%. When you're going to a school with 60,000 kids, you should not have to use an app.
I said 40. I didn't even say 60.
Whatever.
I said 40.
However many, yeah.
20,000. Let's just go down to 20. If you're in
2,000, I don't know. Put a number on it. It doesn't matter.
You can't meet somebody?
Yeah.
Like that's a problem. You're on Tinder or
gosh.
you can't meet somebody?
I can't,
That's insanity. That's just like
the only thing I can say in defense of the people our own age, to circle back to that.
Yeah.
My friends, people that I know, men who have recently been divorced or what have you, is they are paying for alimony. They're paying for a lot. They have to work all week. They still get to see their kids and all that other stuff, or whatever their personal situation is. Bottom line is they don't have a ton of time to go out and try and qualify their next wife.
I don't think they have a choice anymore, James. I think they spend just as much time on an app as they would being out. But I have to be honest with you.
But you can do that on a Tuesday night when you're not going to go out anyway.
Okay, you're right
as
about that.
opposed to watching Game of Thrones
whether you're spending
reruns.
4 hours throughout the week on these dating apps, 1 hour a week, let's say 4 days out of the week, you're spending an hour on these dating apps, or you go out on a Saturday night for 4 hours, the truth is your chances are way better on the app, because going out for 4 hours, some people may not even look up from their phone at you. You will not. I mean, your chances are going to be so slim going to a bar or restaurant to talk to somebody.
Yeah, as you described it, I mean, the experience from your friend, yeah, it sounds that way. I mean, I just, in defense, look.
It's laziness.
Okay, I have, I don't know if I agree with that, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I have so many friends where it's like suddenly they're divorced, they're free, like after 2 or 3 years of, like the marriage not working out, and now it's finally settled and all that. Like they just want to go out and have fun. And, for the first 3-4 years or 2 years or whatever that magic number is for any particular guy, it's a blast. They're going out, they're meeting companions, they're doing whatever they're doing. They're having a great time while they're doing it. And they still have all their responsibilities handled at home. I don't know. I mean, I feel like for some people, at least initially, it's a second lease on life and freedom and enjoying and all that other stuff.
Okay.
But ultimately, let me finish. Ultimately, I do know an equal amount of guys where it's like after the first 2 years of that, they're kind of like, yeah, it's all great and the hookups are nice, but I'm like
There's
at that point
substance
now where I'm ready to meet somebody.
And they can't. And they can't.
Right. Because,
'Cause that's all fun and games. What you're describing is all fun and games.
Still, in defense of the apps, though, I still feel like, look, if you're a hardcore Trumper and you just want to meet a like-minded person, you could weed through a lot of people before you get to your fellow Trumper. You know what I mean? Like whatever, name that. If you're into mountain biking, you can find your mountain biking girl. You can fill in the blank, whatever that is. And I feel like being able to sift through that does have its advantages.
Farmers only.
Farmers only. J-Date.
I know J-Date was started way before.
What's J-Date?
Oh, it used to be a website. I'm sure it's an app now.
Jewish dating?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just it's girls and guys who just want to meet another Jewish person. So J-Date has been around forever.
Black people meet.
Did black people meet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
same thing.
Black
okay.
Planet, all those
and
things.
it's like, Tinder, you know exactly what you're on there for versus Match.com. It's like you're looking for more of a partner
I know,
on your
Match.com.
Match.com.
Match is booty. Match is a booty place. Everyone
Is
knows
it?
that. Yeah.
It's like, what is it, old people Tinder?
Kind of. It's like it was Tinder before Tinder.
So I missed the app boom because I've been with my wife 12 years now. So
How'd you guys meet?
At the hospital. So Plenty of Fish was new.
Oh,
when I
yeah.
was
That's like a
around.
Christian dating site, right?
No. That's a good name though. That's a good idea. It
There
was
is-
just
it's Christian Mingle or something.
Christian Mingle. It was just
Plenty
called Plenty of Fish.
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, the level of people there were like not
Low-hanging
good.
fruit.
It
Low-hanging
was
fruit.
not good. Like if I was a different type of person, I could have messed some lives up.
Yeah.
Like
This is like a step up from the old
Yeah.
Facebook, or not Facebook, the old, because it used to be on Craigslist. You could do all personal and stuff like that. And can you imagine?
I was just about to
who
say
you
it's
would
a
find
step. It
off
was
of
a step up from
Craigslist? Oh, my
Craigslist.
Okay,
Lord.
so it was a step up from Craigslist. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Plenty of Fish, a step up from Craigslist. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know how they are now. I mean, I have friends who use.
I don't know. They're not
Tinder
much
and
different.
stuff,
My
but-
friend showed me all of her eligible people that matched up with her. I was like, oh, just be
It's
single.
tough at
Just
this
be single.
age. It's tough at our age, though, don't you think? It's like everybody's either damaged or has proven themselves to be an unworthy lifelong mate by this
Yes,
point.
That is
You know?
true.
Don't
Yes,
you think?
I am agreeing with you 100%. So what do you do?
You got to pick the person who's got your brand of damage. I mean, that's really,
Yeah,
it's like
it's pretty accurate.
you're like, okay, you're screwed up like me. I mean, it's no different than young awkward kids meeting other young awkward kids or whatever. You just got to,
You haven't procreated.
Yeah.
Yet. Yeah, that's all.
but you're just not, I guess, where you and I sort of differ on opinion is it worth it for you to do it 4 hours a week to get that 1 or 2 dates a month? And to me, the answer is yes. If it's going to save me a ton of time
well, you know
as
me.
a single guy,
I still like talking to Delta representatives, so I'm not going to be
I
on
know.
that app for 4 hours.
She wants to call on the phone. She's like, is there an app where we can call people?
So no, I'm walking into that place, and I probably won't meet anyone. But you and I differ on this greatly. What about you, Phil? Are you walking into a bar, or are you going to be on an app?
I'm more like a hybrid probably because I'm an extroverted introvert. So
Okay.
like, I love being at home and not doing anything, but when I am out, I'm very social.
Right.
So I guess the opportunity, I can meet people in person, but if I was, I guess, single, I would probably look on those apps and then maybe test the waters,
Okay.
see what it's like.
Okay.
But I know so many people, I could probably go, hey, let's go hang out. And then I'd probably meet somebody doing that thing.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
You and I would see again. We would not ever meet.
But just for tail, though, I would absolutely use Tinder.
I mean, come on. Like, you don't want to mislead anybody.
No
here.
joke.
Like,
You know, why waste time or spend
Yeah.
money on a dinner? Just go on Tinder for sure. Yeah.
According to many of my friends, it works. It works when it works.
It works
it's-
wonders.
Yeah, exactly. I
Uh-huh.
can't even get the words out of my mouth. So I know. I got so excited there.
I see that. I see that. Uh-huh.
Anyway, I'm glad it's working out for my buddies out there who are using it. And,
They might be the same ones that's sending images to my friends.
I'm sure they probably are, knowing my friends. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you know I have friends, there's a Facebook group in Florida that says, are we dating the same guy?
Oh, no.
Where it's just women.
Yes.
And they communicate, hey, I'm about to go out on a date with this guy. Is anybody dating him or
That's horrible.
married to him? Yeah.
That's horrible.
Because
No, it's
people,
fantastic.
I'm
Are
going
you
to tell all
kidding?
my friends
That's
about this.
fantastic. That means
Make sure you send out different pictures
that
to
is
every
because
girl.
he has been getting around town a little too
course.
much. Oh my! I
course.
love that.
Yeah, are we dating the same
Oh.
guy? Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
Your
All right.
species.
Huh?
Your species.
My species, gender.
Gender. Your
We're
gender.
the same
We are
species.
the same species. Your gender.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Your
Yeah.
gender.
All right. Well, somehow I knew this was going to come back to me. I think we've had enough of this episode. Thanks for joining us this week. We're going to catch you next week. Go ahead and take them out.
Empty nest. Full tank.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.